Practical 4, configuring initial switch settings. In this activity, I'm going to perform basic switch configurations. I will secure access to the command line interface and console ports using encrypted and plain text passwords. I will also configure messages for users logging into the switch. Part 1, verify the default switch configuration. So step 1 is to enter privilege exec mode. So we are going to configure S1, click on CLI, hit enter to get started. Enable is the command to enter privileged exec mode. Step 2, examine the current switch configuration. Let's type show running config. Answer the following questions. How many fast Ethernet interfaces does the switch have? We can see there are 24. How many gigabyte Ethernet interfaces does the switch have? We can see there are 2. What is the range of values shown for the V2Y lines? This is displayed down here. So the range is 0 to 4 and 5 to 15. Which command will display the current contents of non-volatile random access memory, Nvram? So that is show startup config. And we're displayed and returned with the message startup config is not present. Why does the switch respond with this command? So it displays this message because the configuration file was not saved to Nvram and is currently only actually located in the RAM. So moving on to part 2, we're going to create a basic switch configuration. The first step is to assign a name to the switch. Configure terminal, hostname S1, and exit. Step 2, secure access to the console line. Configure terminal line console 0. I'm going to set the password to let me in. Why is the login command required? Well, in order for the password checking process to work, it requires both the login and password commands. Moving on to step 3, verify that the console access is secure. So we need to exit the privilege mode to verify that the console port password is actually in effect. So just hit return to get started. We can see that we're prompted with the password, so let me in. So because it's prompted us for the password and accepted it, we know that it's configured. So step 4, secure privileged access or secure privileged mode access. So we're going to set the enable password to C1 $C0. Enable, configure terminal, enable password, as we said, C1 $C0, and then exit. So now we need to verify that that is that privilege mode access is actually secure. So we need to log out the switch and then enter. So this is the first password to return to exec mode. So let me in. And then we need to type enable. And now it's prompting us for our second password to protect privileged exec mode, C1 $C0. And then we're going to verify the configuration by examining the contents of the running config file. So we do this by typing show running config. And if we have a look here, we can see both passwords. They're actually showing in plain text. So in step 6, we're going to configure an encrypted password to secure access to privilege mode. So enable secret, and we're going to set the password to it's a secret. Exit. So we can see the enable secret password overrides the enable password. If both are configured on the switch, the enable secret password must be entered to enter privileged exec mode. And step 7, verify that the enable secret password is added to the configuration file. So we need to do the show running config command again. So we can actually see when we show running config, if we look here, one of the questions is what is displayed for the enable secret password? Well, we can see it here. And why is the enable secret password displayed differently from what we configured? Well, the reason being that it's actually encrypted. Moving on. Step 8, encrypt the enable and console passwords. So as we can see here, this one and up here, they're not encrypted. So we need to do that. Config T service password encryption. Exit. So one of the questions is, if you configure any more passwords on the switch, will they be displayed in the configuration file as plain text or in encrypted form? Explain. So basically the service password encryption commands encrypts all current and future passwords. So we'll move on to part 3 now. We need to configure a message of the day banner. So step 1, we will config T, and then the command is banner motd, and we want to pop the message in. This is a secure system authorized access only. And hit enter and exit. When will this banner be displayed? Well, this banner will be displayed when someone enters the switch through the console port. Why should every switch have a message of the day banner? Well, to warn other unauthorized users that access is actually prohibited, but it can also be used for sending messages to network personnel or technicians. Moving on to part 4, which is save configuration files to Nvram. So step 1, verify that the configuration is accurate using the show run command. So we can see our encrypted passwords here and here and here. And then if we look up so actually I've just noticed that I've made a slight error here. I typed MORD instead of MOTD, so, and we can see that that's why I was a bit confused, because the MOTD, I couldn't see it anywhere. So we can go back and actually set that correctly. So we type the correct command this time, banner MOTD. This is a secure system, authorized access only. So just hit enter, type exit. And now we will use the show run command again to check our configurations. So we can see our passwords are encrypted here, here, and here. And my message of the day banner is actually showing now because I've entered the correct command. Banner MOTD. I made a slight error in the first attempt. Moving on to step 2, we're going to save the configuration file. So copy running config startup config. And then we just hit enter. This is okay. What is the shortest abbreviated version of the copy running config startup config command? We type copy run start. Should work. Yes. I also read online that it's copy or S. However, I've no idea why this command isn't working, but apparently it's the shortest way. I'm not really too sure. I had a look online and they did mention things about bugs in the system, but I've tried this on several occasions and I just can't get it to work. Moving on to step 3, examine the startup configuration file. Which command will display the contents of Nvram? So let's show startup config. So now we can see, are all the changes that were entered recorded in the file? Well, as we previously went through in the last run, let's have a look. So we have our password encrypted here, 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 and also we have our message of the day banner. So yes, it is the same as the running configuration that we looked at earlier on. So now that brings us to part 5, configure S2, the last part of the practical. So I am just going to click on S2. So just hit enter to get started. Just click on the page, enter. So we need to go into privileged exec mode. So we're going to assign a name to the switch. Configure terminal. Host name, we'll call it S2 this time. And exit. So now we will protect access to the console using the let me in password. So config terminal line console 0, and like the first part of the practical, set the password to let me in. Now we will verify that the console access is secure. So exit privilege mode, hit return to get started. We're prompted for the password, let me in. This means that the password configuration is correct. So now we're going to protect access to privilege mode. So secure privilege mode access. Enter privilege mode, configure terminal. So same as the practical one, we'll do Cisco and exit. So we're going to log out of the switch and verify that privileged access mode is actually secure. So we're prompted for our first password here, let me in. Now we will enter enable to go into privileged exec mode. We're now prompted for the password, which looks good. Looks like it's gonna be okay. Yeah. So just ensure that the configuration is correct. So show running config. Oh. Should just did that command slightly wrong. So show running config. So just have a look at what's going on here. So we can see our password. Let me in here. And both passwords are actually in plain text. So now we'll configure an encrypted password to secure access to privileged mode. T. Enable secret. It's a secret. And exit. So now we'll just verify that the enable secret password is added to the configuration file. So show running config. So there we can see that the enable secret password has been actually added to the file. It's encrypted. Now we're going to encrypt the enable and console passwords using the service password encryption command. Encryption, then exit. And next we're going to configure a message of the day banner. Big T banner MOTD. Let's get it right this time. And this message is going to be different. It's going to be authorized access only. Unauthorized access is prohibited, and violators will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Hit enter and then exit. So next we will just do the show run command to verify the configuration is accurate. So we can see our passwords here and here are encrypted, and our message of the day banner is now being displayed. We are now going to save the configuration file, so we can do the short command, copy, run and start. Hit enter, that's okay. And now we'll examine the startup configuration file. Show startup config, and just make sure. So there's our encrypted password here, message of the day banner, and encrypted passwords. So yeah, it's the same as the run configuration file. And that concludes this practical.